shows lean left, some lean right, but we lean local and business. This is North Georgia Business Radio X with Phil Bonelli. For the next hour, we will celebrate the businesses in our area and the people that run them. Find us on Facebook at North Georgia Business Radio X and online at northgeorgiabusinessradiox.com. Now, here's Phil Bonelli.
Every business has a story. I'm sure your business has a story, and there's certainly a story that you want people to be hearing when they hear you, when they see you. How's that communicated? That's marketing. Are you doing that effectively? Today we're going to talk about that with one of the best in the biz, Mr. Matt Dubnik, Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes. I just think of it as Forum, but it is Forum Communications.
That's right.
Correct? Okay. So you all, I think of you as marketing. That's so broad. There's so much you do. Let's unpack that. What are the services that Forum provides?
So we look at ourselves as a full-service strategic marketing agency, and as we talk about, there's really two words to hear there. One is full service. Yeah, that's one because it's hyphenated, and the other is strategic. And really, you know, the genesis of our business was, hey, there's no one out there doing everything. There isn't a one-stop shop. So why don't we go do that? And so the idea of full service is we can meet you where you are. We can do anything and everything that you may need. And for us, that's everything from branding and graphic design, print collateral creation. I don't draw stick people, so you get to work with the really talented people. But we do web design and development, all custom, all from scratch, all representative of your brand. We do all forms of digital marketing, search, both paid and organic. We do social, we do email. We're an advertising agency, the catchy ad jingle people, the campaign design and storyboarding, the placement. We do public and community relations. But then we believe that strategy is the bow, right, that wraps all those things up. And so really the idea of Forum Communications is we can be that one-stop shop that helps you find your voice in a crowded marketplace.
I love that. You know, if the military, if we're in a major military engagement and we've got our Navy and our Marines and our Air Force, there's a Joint Chiefs of Staff who is coordinating all that. And you can go and get a website, you can go and get your social done, you can go and do these different things. But if you are not, first, if you don't have a strategy, and if you don't have coordination in the execution of that strategy, you're probably doing yourself more harm than good. And I would say if you're a business owner and you're out there and you're thinking, I can just go and, you know, my nephew said he could make me a website or, you know, this and that. Let me tell you, you can get things done to actually put certain tools in place. But I tell you, an underestimated challenge is writing copy and putting the message out there. You go and try to write your own copy for a website and see how much you enjoy that, Mr. Business Owner. I tell you what, that's tough.
That is tough. And we talk about having wordsmiths, copywriters, editors, but who understand how to write for the conversion, not just write to put a number of words on a page. Because, look, we say it all the time, getting people to your website is a small part of the challenge, but getting them through your website to convert, right? That's the key. So when we talk about writing and to your point, wordsmithing things in an appropriate way, everybody likes those conversions. I hear it helps to keep the lights on and pay the bills.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business Radio X, I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with Matt Dubnik, great friend and Chief Engagement Officer of Forum Communications. And, you know, when we opened the show, we mentioned you are a full-service strategic marketing firm. And really, throughout just even these first 5 minutes, that word strategic keeps coming back in everything. And the writing for conversion, right? What's the purpose of everything you're doing? And it's to sell your products or services, which can also be put to have the opportunity to add the unique value that your business does in the world. Look, you could do the best job. You could make the best widget. You could provide the best service. But if the people who need you aren't hearing about you in the way they need to hear about you, you're not going to be able to add that value that God created you to do.
And today, what we're seeing in the marketplace, and it doesn't really matter your geography, your product, your service, what niche you're in, what service line you're in. People want to know you. People want to know and see and feel and hear you. If you're a dentist and you pull teeth for kids and you clean teeth for kids, people want to know that and see and hear and feel that you can relate to kids. But on the flip side, if you're building large commercial buildings, they want to see and hear about your years of expertise and that you know how to build something that's more than a toy that came out of a Lego box. So it's telling that story and making yourself personable that's really driving marketing decisions in today's landscape.
So your overall branding is really beyond your or more granular than just your overall company. It's you. It's the people who are whether you as the owner or the people executing that work under you. There's a personal touch that people want to see and know.
A lot more today. I think that's an avenue that came out of the pandemic. Is believe it or not, all business is still local in so many ways, and people still want to have that belonging and that feeling to know who you are and as a person, right? Who am I entrusting my livelihood or my tax return to, or my wealth management to, or my HVAC service to?
So how do you go about, how do you deploy that knowledge as part of the strategy? Is it getting the business owner on camera, on social? How do you let people know them?
All of those things and more. It's about listening. As we say, we sit down with every client pretty much from the get-go, and one of the first questions we ask is, so tell us who you are. Just tell us your story. Don't worry about the technical. Don't worry about the years or the numbers. Just give us some insight into your story, and our job is to listen, right? And you ultimately, when you talk about yourself, your business, your family business, your multi-generational business, you're going to say words and phrases that obviously we as marketers are hopefully trained to pick up on and to listen to, that then we can help translate that into an actual message that then permeates multiple mediums and what it is that you're doing to share that message.
Okay. I want to shift gears. There's so many good things to hear from you, Matt. And which, by the way, I wish you could see Matt. Matt is a very stylish fella. Not over the top, but he's just always very well put together. And Matt he's a graduate of the Georgia Institute of Technology, and he's got yellow pants and a navy blue vest. And he just looks teched out. But on that note, you and your wife both help run this business, and she went to UGA. All right, so great partnership there. That is something a lot of small business revolve around or have two key players who are a spouse. What do you think works well to make that work? Because it's not guaranteed to always be a great combo, but yours has been.
It definitely is not guaranteed to always work. What we said from the outset, we didn't know that God's plan was for us to work together, but then we found the plan, right? As we say, stay in your lane. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, Katie is the visionary for this business. She's the cheerleader. This was her idea that she dreamed up and came up with. But to be those partners today, it involves me doing the things that I do well and staying in that lane and doing them well, and her doing what she does well and not stepping on each other's toes, but collectively we get everything done at the end of the day.
Fantastic. We'll pick right back up on that after the break on North Georgia Business Radio X. does your company engage in the community around it? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Welcome back to North Georgia Business Radio X. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with Matt Dubnik, Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications. Matt, right before the break, you were talking about how, this company, some keys to working together with the spouse, which y'all seem to do a great job of, and how Katie is really the visionary and this was her dream. And it was really heartwarming when you shared with me that, your dreams fulfilled just being married to Katie, so she can have the business dreams, right? Sweet man.
We met when we were 18, so don't remember life without her.
Amen. Well, y'all do a wonderful job, and you have some other great people on your team, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing people on your team. I'm not going to mention them all. I don't know every one of them, but how much they mean to the North Georgia community. For this past year, Erin Williamson was named the Young Woman of the Year. She's there at Forum. And shout out to Erin. Erin is awesome. And she gives so much. I'm on a board with her, and I'm just, every time I see her, I'm like, you're just doing so much. You're fantastic. And her demeanor, wonderful. Young Woman of the Year. Katie, your wife, prior Young Woman of the Year, not directly prior, a couple years prior. And you, recent Young Man of the Year. So... great work, everybody.
Well, thank you. We that we really believe in that. We believe in our community. This is home, always has been, always will be. Katie's grandfather had a big influence on her life and on my life. I met him when I was 18. Our firstborn child is named after him. And, he had a saying that you have to pay a little rent to your community. And that statement literally changed my life when I heard it from him over and over and really understood what that meant. And so for us, we just believe that it's our responsibility as citizens, for lack of better words, to pay a little rent to our community and to give back and to be involved in whatever that means, whether it's teaching a Sunday school class or being on a board or writing a check or just making the right phone call to say, hey, you've been on my mind. I'm thinking about you. And hope all's well.
I love it. And for those of you out listening in the audience, I would so strongly encourage you to get involved in the community and go. I am a transplant to North Georgia. And one thing, there's many things I love about North Georgia, but one of them is just how embracing the community has been. And really the reason it has been is because I've just engaged myself in it and serving and just doing things I'm passionate about. And I did that because I wanted to, and I wanted to serve. But I've gotten so much out of that. I mean, enriched relationships, and just in such fulfillment. And it's fun to, see dreams come true. Everything great you see around you. Let's just take Lake Lanier, for example. A small group of people had an idea. They wanted there to be a lake, and it took a lot of work, and they made it. And now it's there. And it's awesome because they did it.
That's right.
So on the community engagement, we're not going to speak a whole lot about this particular piece of your engagement, but I think it's important to talk about in regards to time management. So one way you give back in a major way is being a state rep representing a portion of Northeast Georgia in the Georgia Congress.
Georgia House of Representatives.
Georgia House of Representatives.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. Yep.
So a major commitment. I mean, a lot of time. So how do you balance that? How do you balance all that you do? What are some keys people could know? Not everybody's a state rep, but they've got kids sports, they've got this, they've got that. What are some keys from Matt for balancing time?
It's setting boundaries and having priorities. And when Katie and I agreed that this was something that we were going to undertake 7 years ago, in March of 2016, we said, family comes first. And that this would not be something that we would do to the detriment of our family or to our business. And so that was a boundary, right?
Right.
That we had to set was, hey, we still have to make a mortgage payment and put food on the table for a family of four and a chocolate lab that certainly likes to eat twice a day, right? But on top of that, those were our boundaries, but our priorities were, we feel like this is a way that we could give back as a family to our community that's given so much to us. but that family and business are still the priorities first. And so I think with anything that you do, as long as you have boundaries, set priorities, and are in it for the right reasons, right? A way to give back. You know, the whole old adage from our high school sports days, you know, big team, little me. And I know that sounds so cliche, but I think for us as a family, that's the importance of what we do. And in this case, it's being an elected official.
Oh, I love that. If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business Radio X, I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with good friend and Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications, Matt Dubnik. If you're just joining us, as I mentioned, go back and listen because there's been some wise words imparted from Matt that I certainly have benefited from. And that is great advice, even if we're not balancing things outside of work. Let's say we're starting a business and we're just really putting in all this time, bootstrapping it. I would encourage you folks, still set boundaries. And if you have a family, put that family first. It is so tempting to not, particularly with how connected we are. I mean, between state rep stuff, other community stuff, work stuff, you could be answering emails on your phone and text 24 hours a day. Could you not?
Well, absolutely. And I think, you know, one of the things that I would say there to your point, to a business owner who's maybe starting something up or who's growing or who's trying to expand, sure, you want to talk about these 90-hour work weeks and you want to talk about the grind and you want to talk about all these things. But what happens when you're not on your A game? What happens when you're not resting well, when you're not eating right, when you're not taking care of your own body? You're mentally and physically behind. And now everybody, your employees, your family, your kids, your business partner, prospectively, now everybody is suffering because, you know, come on, let's be honest. In my opinion, the world wants to hang a medal around your neck for working and grinding like there's no tomorrow. Well, you know, you got to take care of you too.
That's right. And you just have to work within the confines of reality. I remember I got out of banking school and started my first banking job in December of 2007, which was the month the recession started. So here I am. I'm ambitious. I want to do well. I'm new. I really don't know anything. I thought I did, but once you get on the field, you realize you don't. We're starting into this big recession, and I was working like 12, 14 hours a day. And I just remember the moment it dawned on me of these, like, this is actually not possible. Of these 12 and 14 hours I'm working, how much of them are quality? Because I'm so tired. Maybe if I went home and rested and, saw my beautiful bride, took my dog for a walk, and then worked 8 or 10 hours a day, I'd get more done. And I did. And it's just your body and your mind have parameters they function optimally within. And you need to work within those to get the most done.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got, my former business coach that I worked with for years, Jack Kelly. Jack and I still talk on a very regular basis. Jack said, to be productive, you have to not only organize your business, but organize your life. And Jack challenged me, again, within the confines of boundaries, right, and priorities that we talked about, find out how to bring organization to both your personal life and your business life. They'll go hand in hand. You set boundaries, you create priorities, and guess what? You'll find yourself more productive. It took 16 months of him coaching and teaching me on that for me to realize, you know what? If I just am organized and I write things down and I know tasks that are in front of me and the ones that are truly burning bushes and the ones that are just screaming fire, there is a difference.
Yes, there is.
And when I got organized and prioritized efficiently and effectively 10, 12 years ago, it's helped me since then. But again, to that business owner, that business leader, I would really stretch yourself to know that organization can actually create more time.
I love it. When we get back from this break, we're going to talk a little bit about coaching, actually. When we come back on North Georgia Business Radio X. Who's helping you get better every day? Welcome back to North Georgia Business Radio X. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with Matt Dubnik, man who wears many hats and still has excellent hair, Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications. Matt, we were just talking about boundaries before the break, and I had asked Matt for advice because Matt is a state rep. He is very engaged in the community, as are all the folks at Forum Communications. And how does he balance his role growing the business, his role as a state rep, his other roles, and then his most important roles at home? And it was balance. And you mentioned that you had a business coach you worked with for many years who helped you with that. Tell me about what coaching has done for you.
I think coaching what it's done is help me to see the bigger picture. I think it's really easy to say, today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Tomorrow you get up. Today's Wednesday. I'm supposed to do these other 3 things. But how does the daily grind? How does the daily checklist? How does the job of life really parlay into the bigger picture? And so from a coaching standpoint, it's really helped me to see, I'm not calling it a vision, but the plan. The plan and how today, tomorrow, and the next day fit into the overall plan of the direction that we're trying to go. So if we're trying to go from A to B, how are we getting there? What are the steps that need to be taken? And what happens when we have to deviate and get to C before we get to B, as an example? So seeing that roadmap and that bigger picture.
I love it. A mentor of mine once told me, execution without a plan is meaningless, and a plan without execution is worthless. So you have to have both. So let me ask you this, and just in your personal practice, how much are you writing out kind of priorities regularly, kind of writing out, do you sit down and reflect on that? How's that look for you?
I think that for me personally, if you look at my desk, my work environment, every day to my left, there is a list of what absolutely has to be done that day, what needs to be done that week, right? And then what's coming in the next week and for the remainder of the month. Again, we go back, we talk about organization. Not everybody can do that. I understand that, but it's the concept of organization. So yes, it is writing that down. We have planning meetings. We have strategy sessions. We have visioneering and dreaming, brainstorm ideas as a company where we, in some small team and then the whole team. Because that way, our goal, mine and Katie's job is to make sure that everybody understands how their job, their role, their function fits into the bigger thing that we call Forum Communications.
So you have kind of somewhat regularly scheduled vision meetings for the company. How often do you do that?
So we get together in small groups every week.
Oh, wow.
We get together as a team every other week. We get together from, call it a visioneering and a strategy standpoint, typically once a quarter. And we're looking at prior year goals, and we're looking at, hey, did we meet those? Why did that ever make it on the list? What were we thinking? Let's take a small pivot on this item. Let's tweak this, and then let's look forward, because I'm still just a firm believer that if you want to get to where you want to go, you have to have a plan and a strategy of getting there. It's no different than using Google Maps, right?
And you've got to execute on it, because Google Maps only works because my phone is constantly updating where I go. And if I miss a turn, which I often do, it can recalculate for me, because that map doesn't work unless you know where you are. If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business Radio X, we're glad you're with us. And you're going to be glad that you're with us, listening to Matt Dubnik, Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications. So we've talked a lot about strategy, both directly and indirectly. And we went off on a larger pivot than I had planned, because you just had such great things to say on having a strategy and executing in your life and in your business. And I want to bring that back to the fact that You all are a strategic marketing firm. And I love that you provide something that I think is fairly unique in that overall vision. You really help them craft that. You find out who they are. Who are you? Who is your audience? We're going to help you craft your overall vision and then execute across all the mediums, which continue to change, right? And so you stay up to date on that. And I think that that's so key. So if I were a business owner and I said, hey, Forum, I need to get my marketing together. The first meeting is finding out, right, who the business is. What are some of the questions that you find are helpful? What does a business need to do to be thinking of to prepare to meet with you guys, which I highly recommend that they do?
You remember the game when we were kids, especially in kindergarten, and you'd sit down and you'd all sit in a big circle and the teacher would whisper something into one person's ear and they had to tell the next person, and then the very last kid had to say what the sentence was.
Right.
And it never came out right. We sit and talk with our clients a lot up front about, hey, let's play that game. Not literally, but figuratively. And when you go around the room, whether it's the ownership or whether it's division leaders or whether it's different offices that are in different geographic locations, we ask, can y'all tell the same story? And ultimately, typically, I shouldn't say all businesses, right? But typically the folks that call us, the story comes out a little bit jumbled.
Right.
So we start with the story, but we ask the question, who are you? And if you can't define who you are, how should you expect your prospective customer or client, right, to know who you are and what you stand for? And I think then the next question is, tell us what makes you different. Tell us about the gaps that you can help to fill for your clients or your customers, or the niche, right, that you serve. And what we often find is these really cool points. You get a business owner or a manager really, really passionate about something they do. And it's like, well, why is that not on your website? Or we haven't heard about that on social media from you. What if a tree falls in the woods and nobody can hear it? Do you really offer that service?
Right.
So,
well, and it's so interesting. I mentioned what would a company need to do to prepare to meet with you all? And it would be good for them to think through that. But even that can be intimidating. And I would encourage, if you don't have your marketing strategy together, audience, call Forum right now. Because something a great coach does, and you've referenced it a few times, is ask great questions. And they know how to draw out from you and articulate in ways you may never have been able to do. What is your story? What is your story? You're in the grind every day. You're doing it. And you may, lose sight of the forest for the trees. And they're going to help you get that overall strategic view, because this is what they do every day at a very high level. And that's just such a great thing a coach does. Is a coach is going to ask a lot more questions that you're going to answer for yourself than what they're going to tell you to do.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key is, you ask what can businesses do to prepare their marketing or to prepare for working with folks like us, is to really sit down and I'll go back, I've said it before, but what's your priority? And what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Is it growth? Is it sustainability? Is it coming out of a rut? Is it avoiding recessionary factors? Is it hedging your bets and starting a new service line, opening a new office? What's the goal? What's the goal?
I love it. And then crafting how you're going to execute that goal. And the thing that a coach doesn't do for you is you still have to go execute the goal. Whereas you all can go in and, the client's going to continue to need to answer some questions, but you can execute across all these mediums for them. So, it is just wonderful. So, as a summary of where we're at now, you need coaches in your life, in business, leadership, and certainly for having a strategic marketing plan. Forum can take care of that for you. We're about to head into our final segment with Matt on North Georgia Business Radio X. Without vision, the people perish. Gotta have vision. What is your vision? Let's talk about that. Welcome back to North Georgia Business Radio X. I am your host, which, let me tell you, is a delightful job that I love having because I get to speak with folks like Matt, who I already get to speak to because we're good pals. But I love getting to dive in to folks' businesses, and there's so much that I learn. I was telling Matt before the show, one day I might write a book of all the things I've learned from each and every person on this show. So one thing I want to learn about you guys, Matt, we talked about something that I loved that you do, and I think is very powerful. And you have this regular cadence of talking about vision, which is not just the ownership, right? It's the whole team. And there's a lot of power and buy-in. So as you all are constantly crafting and updating this vision, what is it? What do the next 5 years look like for Forum Communications?
When Katie started the company, as I started with the idea that we help you find your voice in a crowded marketplace. The idea of our name, Forum, comes from the Roman forums. If you think about it, the forums in the Roman times that's where you went for everything. That was your marketplace. That was where you went for your local gossip, right? That was where you went to buy things, to sell things, but it's big and it's loud and it's a little bit crazy and chaotic. And so that's where our name came from, and that tagline, how do we help you find your voice in a crowded marketplace? I tell you that to say, we realized early on that we were only going to be as strong as the people that make up the team at Forum.
Wise.
We are a team. We believe we're stronger as a team, but we've grown through the years by putting the right people in the right seats at the right time. We don't have any employees. We just have team members.
I love it.
And that's something that we believe in. We sit at a round table. It might have square edges, but we still call it a round table. And the point there is everybody has the ability to sit there and bring equal voice and insight and input and opinion. And as we've grown the team, Katie's belief from day one, literally the first statement she made after she said, yes, I'm going to start this company, was, and if there's ever anybody else in the company, I'm going to take care of them to the nth degree.
Oh, I love it.
So I say all that to say our vision is to continue to do really awesome work for really awesome clients to the point that we can help them not only see the impact of our work, but to help them feel the impact of their work. And so our vision is continue to do that and win for our clients, but in doing so, to have a team and an environment where everyone feels fulfilled, right? Personally and professionally. They feel like there's a work-life balance and that they're being taken care of, to Katie's decree, to an nth degree. So our vision is to become more effective and more efficient in what we do so that we can lean in more towards that work-life balance and taking care of people to an nth degree. But I think a little bit of that vision as well is really on that feel, that word about feel. How do our clients not only see it, but truly feel it? And so that's something that we're constantly talking about from a strategic standpoint. Is it's great to be able to translate results into the bottom line. Because let's be honest, when we're talking about a business, last time I checked, for-profit businesses like to have a profit. Yeah, right. And so that translation tool is can't be understated enough. But I also think the last piece I'd say about our vision and where we're going in that next 5 years is having a roadmap, knowing where we're going, and knowing the steps that we're actively taking to get us there and to help us pursue that vision of balance and mutual respect and trust and fun and results.
If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business Radio X, I'm glad that you are. And we're finishing up with Matt Dubnik Chief Engagement Officer at Forum Communications. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli. And Matt, I love the vision, and I want our audience to hear something in that vision. And it did not include numbers. And yes, we do need profits, and profits are a good thing because profits are what allow you to better take care of your people and to better serve your customers and serve more customers. I mean, at the farm, I want to make strong profits so that I can make a bigger impact with the farm. That's my vision. I want to impact the environment and families through great food and through spiritually, through them being in a beautiful environment. I just want to do more of that. And so that's why I want profits, so I can do that. And that's what I love about your vision. It's all about people. It's you want to serve your clients more and have them really feel your impact. And you want to do that with teammates, not just employees, but teammates who are so well taken care of and who you're blessing their lives. And that's what you want to do. And it's a wonderful thing. That'll get you out of bed when you don't feel like it right there.
Amen.
Whew.
Amen.
Think about that, folks, as you think about your vision. Do you have a vision? And as I said at the beginning, without vision, the people perish. And that's not a Philism. That is from the Bible, I do believe. But you got to have vision. And another lesson from Forum that stands out to me is just everyone on the team is involved with that vision. Everyone's bought in, and it's regularly talked about, checked up on, held accountable. So, Forum is there. They're working on their vision, which is to serve you. And they can help you clarify your vision as to be executed in your marketing plan. How strategic are you being? In last week's episode, we talked with Nick Bruner at Russian & Company, and it's so important to have a grip of your finances so you know how your business is functioning and you know how to make those profits so you could execute the vision. But you got to have the accounting, and you got to have the marketing, and then the execution of both. But it's important, and just like we talked about with the business coaching, Matt and I did not know Matt had gotten coaching, leadership coaching, and I have too, and still do to this day, have for many years. It is so helpful to have an outside person to help you work through these things. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, you can go do your own social media. It's there. You can get your cousin to do it. You can go make a website. You can go and get print media. You could go and do these different things. But let me tell you, whatever your business is, if it's not that, you need to get someone whose business is that to be doing what they do best so you can do what you do best.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That old adage, do what you do best and outsource the rest. I think that we hear so often when it comes to marketing, Matt, I either have the time but no expertise, or I have the expertise but no time. Well, guess what? We bring both to the table, and a lot of elbow grease and a lot of brain power. And so like you mentioned, when we can come in and help, it allows you, it frees you up to do those things that you do best. It's kind of like with Nick. Why do you work with a CPA? Well, they're really good at what they do. There's online tax software that can...
You could do it.
You technically can do it, but
yep.
I think I'll stick with the pros.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Matt, it's a bittersweet moment that we're about to wrap up this show. But we need your help to do that.
Okay.
All right? And we're going to do our North Georgia Business RadioX freestyle. And so we need from you some topics to do that freestyle about. What should we wrap this show up with, Matt?
At the bottom of everybody's bio and profile on our website, we ask everybody to list 3 things that they're passionate about, 3 things that they love, 3 unique items about them.
Okay.
And mine says that I'm a lover of ducks and dogs, wine, and everything Georgia Tech.
All right. Here we go. Everything Georgia Tech. But you upgraded on the marriage piece to a bulldog.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Well, check it, Matt. Today you're in luck. We're about to freestyle about some dogs and ducks. Quack, quack. I see them shooting out of the sky. The beautiful when they're there in my office. Oh, my. Plus the duck breast. Wrap it in bacon. Yum. Pair it with some wine. And you know, people come over. They want to snack on it. It is so tasty. Even when they're wearing Georgia Tech colored pastries. That they're bringing gold jackets. I said it. Just because you're my friend, nobody who've read it in the paper won't quote me. Because I'm a bulldog. That's okay. And we're out. I'll go back under the log. North Georgia Business RadioX. Matt Dubnik, Forum Communications. Thank you, folks. Have a great week.
You've been listening to North Georgia Business RadioX with Bo Henderson. What local business do you know that should be highlighted on our program? Let us know. Just search North Georgia Business RadioX on Facebook or contact Bo at businessradiox.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time. And remember to support our local businesses.